Okay, so the topic for today's mastermind: resurrecting your old dead leads and turning trash into cash. Now, I don't love that part of it, the trash to cash, because treating leads or prospects or potential clients like trash never gets us anywhere. But the reality is, for most of you, that's what this is. It's already sort of discarded, forgotten opportunities, and so you're turning what was dead into new opportunities, let's say. And so I've got a pretty detailed outline that I've built out, but it is still a work in progress. But what I'd like to do is just kind of go through the outline, but in an interactive fashion. So if you have questions, if there are, something that maybe I'm missing, or you have to add, or you'd like to add, I've got steps, and then I've got them broken down. I've put the Google Doc outline in the chat, and again, I encourage as much of your feedback as possible with this, because it's a work in progress, and this is a mastermind. It's not this isn't about me. This is us using the power of 50 of us nearly on here to optimize. The link is not working. What does that mean? It's a Google Doc. Hold on, maybe I have to make it, I thought I made it so that anyone with the link could open it, but let me double check here. Oh, that's my fault. Okay, now I thought I had done that, but it was still restricted. If you're familiar with Google Docs, that was not on purpose. Now it should be anyone. If you click the link, it should just grant access. Okay, sorry about that. And I'm going to paste it again here, because sometimes it's goofy when A, if you just hopped on, you may not see it, and B, if it was blocked before. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the outline here in the document: resurrecting your old dead leads and turning trash into cash. There are essentially 3 steps, but I'm going to immediately contradict myself, because I'm going to recommend that you start with step 0, which I'll get into in a minute. But the 3 steps that I've outlined here are identify and organize. I've kind of bucketed these together. I guess I suppose it could be 6 steps, but I wanted to keep it bite-sized for everybody. Identify and organize, step 1. Step 2, revive and engage. Step 3, optimize and automate. Okay, and I'm going to go through all of this. And we're going to unpack in as detail as possible. And then for those of you that want to do a deeper dive, we're going to do more workshop style, actually doing the work within these steps later this week, if you'd like to join us. Okay. Step 0. And honestly, if you just do this, this will be time for most of you, time very well spent. If you do nothing else from the time spent today, if you just do this step 0, which I think, maybe not do it immediately, maybe immediately following this mastermind session, here's what I would recommend that you do. Sit down, maybe with a cup of coffee, or maybe with a cup of tea, whatever, and make a list of every potential client from the last 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Maybe longer. Okay, maybe since the pandemic started. I don't know. There's no right or wrong answer here for the timeline. But make a list of everyone in your sphere of influence, in your database, in your past client, whatever, of people that, number 1, got turned down for a mortgage, got turned down by a lender. They wanted to buy a home, but they got turned down for whatever reason. Okay, that's number 1. Or they were actually at some point looked at homes with you, maybe even made an offer or offers, but this kind of gave up for whatever reason. Okay. Number 3, anyone who told you, either text, email, messenger, on the phone, in person, who said something along the lines to you that they would like to sell, but they don't want to be homeless, quote unquote, right? They don't know where they'd go. Okay. Now, for some of you, this alone may uncover literally, thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars in potential gross commission income. And more importantly, people that you can genuinely help, right? That have a want or a need, and you can genuinely help them. Okay. And some of you doing this activity, it may be 1, 2, 3. Some of you on here, for example, Robert, who shared a win at the beginning, who in it sounds like 45, 60 days already capped here at EXP. That means to me that Robert's got a pretty big database and probably has even more opportunity hiding or gold hiding in that database. And I think this is the very lowest hanging fruit. And if nothing else, if you sit down and think about these questions or these buckets of folks, and you get your reticular activating system going, you'll become more aware. And you may sit down and do this for a few minutes, and you come up with a few names, and then you get stuck, right? You get tired, and the well runs dry. But what happens is, by becoming aware and understanding that what you focus on expands, what'll likely happen is, as you go throughout the week, you'll remember other people. Oh, you know what? Who was that person that lived down the street or that was in my neighborhood that I was, you'll put together more of these opportunities that just by getting that reticular activating. If you don't know what that is, it's like, it's the idea that I'm looking out at my white Ford Explorer. And before I had my Explorer, I didn't really notice them. Right. And then as soon as I had a white Ford Explorer, like I saw them everywhere. Like it was like they were, all over the place. Right. And so that's your reticular activating system. And just by engaging that, turning that thing on, you're going to find more and more opportunities. And I'm going to shamelessly plug, for just 30 seconds here, our mortgage team as it relates to number one on here. Because in the last 7 to 10 days, we have helped 4 people on our mortgage team who had been turned down, all of them by multiple lenders previously. And not just help them get pre-approved, we are under contract and in underwriting with these clients. For example, a fellow by the name of Michael in North Carolina, who was one of these types of clients for Tony, a realtor partner down there, right? So Tony was, kind of had the reticular activating system going on and knew that Michael had been turned down by other lenders. In fact, it was 2 or 4. I can't remember in Michael's case. Not only have we been able to pre-approve Michael, but he is under contract on 2 homes, one for himself and one for his mom. He's buying a home for himself with an FHA mortgage, and we're using a DSCR loan for his mom. Okay. Talk about, turning trash or lost opportunity into not just commission for Tony, which is great, but like we're doing real, we're helping, right? We're helping Michael not only solve his needs for housing, but doing something awesome for his mom. Okay. So that's step 0. And honestly, you could all leave right now. And if you just do this work, this exercise, I promise you it'll be well worth it. Okay. I promise you. But I've got lots more. And I want to take a minute also to address this fact or potentiality. You may be thinking, well, I'm a new agent, or I legitimately, maybe you just haven't been a producing agent for however long, I don't know. And you legitimately don't have any old, quote unquote, dead leads, right? You've been completely inactive for the last 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 36 months. I don't know what, whatever. Well, here are 2 ways you can apply the rest of this framework, the rest of these 3 steps, even if that's the case. Number 1, find other veteran or producing agents in your office, or your virtual brokerage and quote unquote make them an offer they can't refuse. What is that? Right? What is that? Well, you could offer to do this dead lead resurrection process with their old dead leads in exchange for a referral fee. Hey, listen, James, I know, I see that you're killing it out there, and I see all the advertising you're doing and so forth. I'm guessing you've got some old dead leads that are just kind of laying around in your database and not doing anything. Would you be open to me working those to revive them or resurrect them? And if or when I get a live one, I can either refer them to you for a small referral fee, or I'll work them and I'll pay you a referral fee, right? Find it, get creative. And listen, is everyone going to say yes to that? No. But all you need is one to say yes. Okay, one to say yes. And what happens from that is, number one, you'll get the experience of the rest of these steps, which will make you a better salesperson and a better real estate servant, right? You'll learn how to be of better service in this industry. And number two, you can create some opportunities out of thin air, out of opportunities that weren't being worked by that other agent. Okay. The other way that you might be able to find some old dead leads is by going and finding old expired listings. And there's in the document there is a YouTube video. Don't watch it now. Check it out after if this is of interest to you, where I show a data provider that I use and love, and how you can use that to find old expired listings that you can then prospect or use these next 3 steps to get the experience and uncover opportunities for you. Okay. Any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas so far? Okay, before we've actually even gotten into the meat and potatoes.
I think that's a great idea, Josh, what you just said, because I've got about 3,600 old leads, I guess, in KV Core, and I need to reach out to a young agent, a hungry agent that would take care of some of the stuff for me, because going through 3,600 leads is going to be a little bit of time.
Well, you could do that, Robert, or you've got KV Core and they're already in there. And what we're working on, which will be available this week, is a smart campaign that you can load into there, or we can even help you load into there, that will do the work for you. And then either you can work the ones that bubble to the top, or that sort of reactivate, or the campaign resurrects, or you could, then have a let's call them a newer or hungry agent work them as well. So we don't have that here available yet, but we are building a smart campaign specifically to help with, in this case, step number 2 within this, where you can it's literally plug and play, and it will be a multi-step, multi-touch campaign to turn those old dead leads back into actively engaged and interested folks. So, and I'd be happy to, once we have that available, we can hook you up with that. And again, happy to chat with you further on how to help with that.
Great, Josh. Thanks.
You bet. All right. Great job, James, Heath, and erasing dead bones delight every day. And Karen, I'm interested in the lender I need to save. Karen, shoot me an email, text, whatever. And I can get you connected with our mortgage team, and we'd be happy to help you with that. Okay. We're having a ton of success with folks that, if you have folks who are motivated to buy a home, and they're credit challenged, or they've been turned down or denied, like those are the folks that we love helping, and we have solutions for them. And if we can't help them right now, we will give them a plan so that we can help them in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And when we do, or when we're able to, we can bring them back to you as as an opportunity for you. Okay. Now let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of this. And I'm going to have to keep this moving along because I've got a hard stop, and I want to make sure that we have enough time for Q&A as well. So step one. Okay. This is taking step 0 and going way deeper. So full transparency. For some of you to fully do step one, it may take you a half a day. It may take you a whole day. It may take you a whole week of blocking out a couple hours a day. But I can guarantee you that it is work worth doing. 100%. Personal guarantee that if you do this work, it is worth it. Okay? But only if you do the rest of the steps as well. Okay? And the work is to identify where you have ever gotten leads. Where have you ever gotten leads from? And I've got a list here, and this is where we can make it interactive. If you have any to add to the list, we can add them right in here. But this is a non-exhaustive list, but it's a good starting point. Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, Trulia, Homes.com, HomeSnap, ZBuyer, Zerple. I don't even know if Zerple exists anymore, but the ZBuyer made me think of Zerple. I don't know. Facebook, lead ads, or people that have chatted you through Messenger. Or, you know what, I got to add this. So it could be lead ads. Okay, lead ads. It could be marketplace leads. It could be just direct messages. Okay, lots of ways to get them from there. Instagram, same thing. It could be from lead ads or direct messaging, whatever. Street Text. Street Text is a platform that allows you to more easily launch Facebook and Instagram ads. Maybe you have Street Text now. Maybe you had a trial with them and generated some leads, but didn't do anything with them. Whatever. I don't know. Listings to Lead, another great platform where you can generate leads where you may have used them in the past and may have generated some leads, but just never did anything with them. Referrals, whether they're personal or from referral companies. And we could probably make another subset list of all the referral companies, of which there are many. In fact, I think I have a list of them somewhere. We'll probably get it added to here. Open houses. Okay. Have you done any open houses recently or in the last year or in the last decade? Right? Did you have people, were you making them register digitally or in person? Right? Like for some of you, this process, you may have sheets of paper with contact information on. I don't know. But however you have them, it's work worth doing. Your website. Okay. I was actually talking with someone right before this session that was looking at our co-marketing and getting some help with getting more from their website. They were getting several thousand website visitors a month and only generating like on average 2 leads a month. And so that's a topic for a different day, and actually is going to be an upcoming topic of one of these marketing masterminds is optimizing or pimping out your website to capture more leads. But even those two, like that's opportunity. Whether your website is generating you 1 lead a month, 1 lead a year, whatever, like those are people that at some point were interested in buying or selling real estate. Craigslist. Okay. Yes, Craigslist still works. We have people on this session right now. In fact, Mark has sent us 2 leads from Craigslist in the last like 4 or 5 days, long form mortgage leads. Okay. It works. Google pay-per-click, YouTube, or even YouTube ads from your broker. Maybe your broker has given you leads or gives you leads every week, month, whatever. And then like paid lead services like My Plus Leads, RedX, LandVoice, whatever else. Now, we've got a great crowd here. What are we missing on this list? What are we missing here that needs to be added to this list that can help people with a memory jogger? Greg, thank you. LinkedIn. In fact, I'm going to put LinkedIn up here with some of the other social media. Right? That's a great one. Thanks for shouting that out, Greg. So LinkedIn. What else? Open house is on the list, but thank you, James. A geographic farm. Absolutely. Have you been doing any geographic farming? Right? And if you're using a postcard like this is a campaign that I ran recently that has generated 20 motivated sellers on a cost that this campaign went out to about 700 people for like $530, and I got 20 warm leads. If you want more information on how we do that, we call that the direct mail double tap. And we have a free mini course on that. Just get back to whoever invited you. And we'd be happy to give that to you. Oh my goodness, Greg, I can't believe I forgot some of these. This is why I love the mastermind here. Okay, Google, your Google business listing. Have you gotten leads from your Google business listing, whether they be organic or local services ads? Google business listing, networking groups, 100%. This is great. This is community involvement.
As you know, I live in the rent to own world. And what I do, and I suggest every other agent does, if they have a listing, put the financing options include seller financing, and you can pull out people that can't get financing, but we can come in and buy a house for them through our rent to own program.
So I'm sorry, what is the lead source for that though? I missed the very beginning because I was adding more in here.
Yeah, a bunch here. If you have a listing for the financing options, add seller financing.
Okay.
So, or lease option, whatever in your MLS you have. And that can drum up some potential buyers.
Okay. Optimizing listings, capture more buyers. Buyer and seller webinars and seminars. Absolutely. I love that. If you've ever done those, which I got to get back to Angie and Tiffany, because they had a killer one recently, specifically for self-employed buyers. And I want to revisit that. WhatsApp. Got to be careful with WhatsApp. There's some shady business that, I've had several WhatsApp. I've had several people reach out through WhatsApp, which seem to be like real opportunities. And upon further review, it's like a new Craigslist phishing scam. So just be careful with WhatsApp, but it can work. What else? Is there any other major ones that we're missing here? If
Josh,
not, yes.
Shay's got his hand up.
Shay, go ahead. You should know
Sorry,
better. Just open your line and yell at me.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I'm in my car. I had to hit the unmute button. Thanks, Harry. I was trying to read the list, but I was in the car trying to read it at a stop sign. Do you have just listed, just solds?
I don't, but that's a great shout. Just sold. Whoop. Now that's assuming that you're sending out just listed, just sold cards that capture leads and opportunities for you. I was looking for an example of one, which I don't think I have here. But again, that's a topic for another session. We're just trying to do like a memory jogger exercise here to create as many different ways for you to build a list of or identify old dead leads that you can then re-engage or resurrect or revive and uncover opportunities for you. So I think we've got a pretty extensive list here, unless anybody has some big ones.
Josh, I got one more. I've been having a lot of success with people who expired over 6 weeks ago. Like
Older
in 6
expired?
weeks and 6 months that might still be
Yep.
looking at it. Yep. Older
Yep.
expired. I've had a lot of success with that lately.
Yep, love it. And we did, I had hit that as a great place. If you don't have any of these, that's something that even if you just got licensed yesterday, you can use that as a potential lead source for this resurrection process. Okay. All right.
Somebody else put expired too. I don't know
Yep.
if that was on the list.
Regular expired, sure.
Or I'm sorry, FSBOs.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Yep. FSBOs for rent by owners.
Sorry, that's what I get for jumping in late. Sorry, guys.
All good. No. All good. It needs to be on this list as well anyway. Okay. So, all right. We identify those. And again, this may take you several hours, may take you several days. It is work worth doing. I promise you. After you do the identification process, where are these old dead leads that I've that I've already done the work or paid the price, like literally paid for these opportunities. Where are they? Now you've got to organize them in some form or fashion. Are they already in your CRM? Are they tagged appropriately? Do you need to put them all into a spreadsheet? And if so, like for me, the easiest way to do that is you use a Google spreadsheet and then you can export them to a CSV. The goal is to simply get them ready and organized for step 2 of the process. Okay, to get them ready and organized for step 2 of the process. Okay, any questions with identify and organize for that with that piece of the pie? All right, perfect. Now, actually, I'm sorry. So this is sort of a bonus under step 1. You also ideally would categorize these. So the 2 big buckets are they a renter or potential buyer? Okay. What type of property are they interested in? How long ago were they looking or interested? And then the other big bucket is they're an existing homeowner. They already own a home. And I think there are 3 sort of sub pillars of those. Sphere of influence and past clients. These are people that you have some kind of relationship with. Home value leads or cash offer leads or similar, right? Like internet derived leads. And then we've got, FSBO, expired, canceled for rent by owners, right? So moving across the, warm or hot or they know who you are and versus, kind of warm, they've opted in for something versus cold. You don't have any existing relationship with them, right? And so by categorizing them, we can more congruently communicate with them, which is the first part of step 2, which is the revival process. So because of our time constraints today, I'm not going to go super deep on this, but we have, as I mentioned, we're building a smart campaign that will have several layers to this, and a multi-step process to revive or activate or engage as many of these old dead leads as possible. But the simplest, easiest one to deploy right out of the gate is from one of my, someone that has been a huge sort of mentor or it's just a wizard when it comes to the real estate marketing world. A fellow by the name of Dean Jackson. He calls it his 9-word email or text. And it's very simply, are you still interested in whatever, in buying a home here in Central PA? Okay. The more congruent you can make this communication, the more effective and the more engagement or revivals you're going to get. Okay. So a more congruent version would be, are you still interested in buying a new construction home in CV schools? Right? So the one above is kind of generic. Are you still interested in buying a home here in Central PA? Which will work if you don't have the ability to make it more congruent. That is better than nothing. Okay? But if you have the ability to make it more congruent, doing so will make it feel more personal. It will make it feel like it was a personal message to the recipient. So are you still interested in buying a new construction home in CV schools? Are you still thinking about selling your property at blank address in 2023? Are you still thinking about selling your property at blank address here in the near future or anytime soon? Okay. And the congruence is that's a home value lead that we have the address of. Okay. And expired. Would you still like to sell your property at blank address? Looks like you had tried in the past, but for one reason or another, it didn't sell. Okay. Would you still like to sell? Right. Just asking that. And it's strategically a binary question. Now, the full campaign that we're building will have a mix of binary questions where they can very easily reply yes or no, or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, right? Versus open-ended questions. And the example, the example on the expired would be, are you still interested in selling? Or you could say, why do you think your property at blank address didn't sell? Now, I wouldn't go doing that, at least in the initial communication, right? But that's a great open-ended question once they've engaged with you. Okay. Other variations of that. Okay, I'll give one other example that works. This is one of my favorite re-engagement or resurrection scripts. I call it the reverse psychology. And it goes something like this. If you let's take we'll take home value leads. Okay, home value leads. Hey, James, I know you're probably not ready to sell right now, but when you are ready to sell, will you be relocating or staying here in Central PA? Okay, so it's like takeaway selling. Okay, on the buyer side, hey, James, I know you're probably not ready to buy right now, but when you do find your dream home, do you have a home that you need to sell first? Question mark. That is a wonderful script that has many applications, right? I call it the reverse psychology script. So you're taking it away. You're making it obvious that, listen, I'm not trying to pressure you. I know you're not ready right now. And what happens is the ones who are ready right now will tell you, well, actually, funny that you should ask. Because we were just talking this weekend that it might be time for us to get serious again about buying a house or selling this one or whatever. And also the ones that aren't ready right now, this is great, and it helps with C under our engage. They will oftentimes tell you when they will be ready. You're right, actually. We're not ready right now. We're thinking probably June or July. And that gives you information that you can disposition the leads so that you can follow up at the appropriate time and make sure that you don't lose out on that opportunity. Okay. So some other points with this step and ways that you can revive these. You can do one-to-many or one-to-one. Okay. If you go through the step 1 of this process, and you've come up with like 5 or 10 old dead leads, I would just do one-to-one. And I would make it as personal as possible. And you may even send them a personal video message. If you, like Robert, who had opened his line, have 2,700 old dead leads, you're going to want to do one-to-many. And you're going to want to also do multiple channels. So email, you may want to text if you're able. You could even send a ringless voicemail if you're able and it's okay in your state. And you could even retarget, which is actually a topic on our show, the Wake Up Real Estate show this morning. We created a new retargeting campaign to put out in front of these folks as a way to revive or resurrect them, to bring them back to us and as re-engaged folks. Okay, so finding as many different channels possible is going to help you reactivate as many of these as possible. Now, part 2 of this process, engage. We need to track who's responding and how they respond. We need to respond back to them, which I know sounds simple, but if you do this, for example, with Robert's 2,700, when we deploy that re-engagement smart campaign, let's say, he's going to want to make sure that he has the time and specifically block out time to respond to these folks. Because if you deploy one of these scripts and you get lots of engagement, responses, conversations, and you don't do anything with them, what's the point? Now, that may seem kind of silly, but I know that happens. Right? That you do the right things, you do the right work, but then you let it drop, right? And we want to fully optimize all of this. Okay. And the responses and the conversations that you have allow you to fully disposition those leads. You may uncover leads that you didn't know own a home, right? So that reverse psychology script. Hey, I know you're not ready to buy right now, but when we do find your dream home, do you have a home you need to sell first? Right? And they say yes. Well, now we can go and do some digging and disposition. Okay, would you like me to send you a CMA or a report with what homes in your neighborhood are selling for? Things of that nature, and get that additional information and plan for what to do next. Plan for what to do next. So again, in that situation or scenario, we find out that they own a home. So our disposition process with that will include getting them set up on a seller nurture, which is part of step 3 here, optimize and automate. Get them set up with a seller nurture, get them set up on a market report, and also make a note, if they have disclosed to us what their time frame is, we're going to make a note and we're going to personally follow up with them, probably cut the time in half. Right?
Hey,
so if
Josh.
somebody says, yeah.
2 quick things really quick, just from personal experience. If you're going to do one-to-many, try and do 50, maybe 100 at the most at a time, because you will get flooded with different responses. And if you can't respond in a timely manner, they'll think that you don't care and it won't come off as authentic. I did 500 at one time, and it decimated my day, and I was scrambling to answer and put in follow-up campaigns, put people into HomeBot, and fully disposition the leads. So try and take it in small bites, maybe 50 in the morning, 50 in the afternoon, if that's what you're doing.
Yep.
And then another thing, if they say 3 months, follow up in 6 weeks. If they say 6 months, follow up in 3 months. Always follow up in half the time and just touch base and say, hey, is there anything that I can do while you're getting ready? Because most people say 3 months and it's about half that time, and you'll lose a lot if you don't follow up in time.
That's a great point. That was the point I was about to make, but I appreciate you emphasizing the fact that this can actually backfire on you. If you do this work and then you don't respond and you don't respond quickly, it can actually go against you, right? And that's, you certainly don't want that. We want to make sure that we do this in a way that allows us to capture as much of the opportunity that we revive and engage through this process. So 100%. You can respond in a timely fashion. So adding that note here, and we're going to clean up some of this as well. One last point for this section. What you focus on expands. So focus on the positive responses and the opportunities. Do not give any energy or focus to the ones that unsubscribe, to the ones that curse at you, to the ones that say mean things or whatever. Delete them and move on and focus on the ones who are responding in a positive fashion, still want your help, etc. Okay. It's unavoidable. If you do this work, you are going to get some people that are going to yell at you. Okay. That's okay. They're taking out their frustrations about something else that's going on you. You just happen to be there to get the brunt of their frustration. You're not doing anything wrong, right? Don't give that any additional energy beyond deleting them and moving on. Deleting them and moving on, and focusing your energy on the positive responses and the opportunities that you're going to uncover with this. Okay, step 3. And this alone is its own session, quite honestly. But I want to include it in here and just give you some things to think about. And this is going to fall into something I mentioned at the beginning, which we're going to do, whether it's next week or sometime in the next few weeks, a mastermind specifically on optimizing your website, optimizing your CRM, optimization of the tools and the technology that you have, so that you can make sure that you are engaging with and connecting with as many fresh leads as possible, as well as dead leads in your database. Okay. But just to give you some context here, some basic overview. And the way to think about optimizing is, what can you do to be more effective and efficient? Effective and efficient, right? So how can we optimize your website? For example, the conversation I mentioned that I was having before this session with an agent, her and her husband in Florida. They're getting a significant amount of traffic to their website each and every month, but they're not capturing many opportunities from that. And so how can you create more built-in lead capture functionality to optimize and be more effective and efficient with the traffic they're getting? That ties in with your lead capture, right? From your website, but also from other marketing campaigns. Optimizing your existing CRM. You know, what happens when a new lead comes in? Not only that, but does your CRM allow you to automatically bring leads in, right? If you're getting leads from one of those many sources that we noted above, is there a way for that to automatically be captured in your CRM? And if so, do you have that set up? For example, KV Core, we have that functionality with EXP and with KV Core. Do you have it set up? Just because the functionality is there, if you don't actually get it synced up, it doesn't do you any good, right? And there are other pieces of this puzzle that you can optimize as well. You can optimize your day and your time blocking to make sure that you're creating the time to follow up with the engaged and with the folks that are conversing, okay? And then automate. It's my belief and my stance that every contact in your database, for example, in KV Core, should either be getting a search alert or a market reporter update with some frequency, whether it's weekly, every other week, whatever. They should be getting one or both. And I believe it's best practice, in my personal experience, for your seller leads or your homeowner section of your database, they should be getting some kind of seller nurture through My Home IQ or HomeBot. Okay. They are simple, automated ways for you to stay top of mind and make sure that I look at this part as like it's an insurance policy against these clients and potential clients working with someone else when their motivation hits a tipping point. Okay. It's like, Dan Kennedy describes it as a way of putting a fence around your herd, right? Your database is your herd. And if you don't do some of this work, it's like you don't have a fence at all. They can just go wander about anywhere in your market, right? And end up wandering into doing business with somebody else, which we don't want to happen. Okay. And then ongoing work, the things that you should be doing on an ongoing basis that can't be automated or optimized, right? Like automation and optimization in a perfect world, there are things you do once and it's kind of done. Now, you may want to check in on those things monthly or quarterly to make sure, like, do I need to tweak this, that, or the other thing? But in theory, that stuff is working for you all the time. But there are things that you should be doing on an ongoing basis that is just part of the work of the business that we've chosen, the industry that we're in. So you should do this revive or resurrection process every 60 to 90 days with your old dead leads, because every 60 to 90 days, you've got a new, bucket theoretically of now old dead leads. Okay. You should also be, at least in my opinion and experience, be deploying our weekly email newsletter process and template, which there is a link in the doc to that for those interested. You should be time blocking each day to work your activity feed. For example, in KV Core, our dashboard is the feed that we can go and see, okay, James came back and looked at these 3 properties, or Denise came back and updated or requested an updated home valuation, or so-and-so opened the email that I sent out, right? Blocking out time each day to spend following up and following through with those that you are re-engaging. And then retargeting. I mentioned it already, but that's something that you want to do on an ongoing basis. And in most cases, you're going to want to refresh or be re-energizing or like putting out fresh retargeting content. There are certain retargeting campaigns that maybe are kind of set it and forget it, but the reality is you're going to want to be putting out fresh creative on the retargeting front on a regular basis. All right, that was a whole lot. I want to open it up for Q&A, and also I will let you know for those interested on what we're doing later this week to actually kind of workshop and do some of this work together. James says, Dean is always trying to get my money. I think he's talking about Dean Jackson, but he does it in a cool way, James. He's so like low key and chill about it. That's one of the things that I love about Dean. He's not overly aggressive, right? He's I don't know. I just like his way, the way that he does marketing and you know, promotes himself. Terry says, great stuff as usual. Got to run. Thanks, Josh and Mike, for all you do. Appreciate that. What do you recommend sending buyers besides a search alert? Isabel, I would recommend 3 things. Okay, great question. 3 things: search alert, your weekly email newsletter, and hot deals. Best Buys, smoking hot deals, whatever. That's what they're looking for. Oh, actually, and 4, special mortgage programs. Okay, so send them properties, search alerts, send them your weekly email newsletter, send them Best Buys or smoking hot deals and information on special mortgage programs, which actually the last 3, they can be, you know, you can do those together, right? Your smoking hot deal and mortgage programs could be part of your weekly email newsletter. Other questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas? I've got about 4 minutes before I have to hop off. Fixer-uppers and open houses. Yes, that makes for great content. Mark, great shout. Absolutely. Like that is, listen, buyers are in your database because they're looking at homes and because they want to look at, you know, the real estate is what they're excited about. Okay. The mortgage stuff is a necessary evil, but at some point is important. And the reason why I think that plays a critical role in the process is that may change their motivation. In other words, they may have a limiting belief about whether they can qualify right now for a mortgage. And if you make them aware of a program that addresses that limiting belief, they may instantly. So, for example, I'll tie it all together: the reverse psychology script, the reverse psychology script. I know you're not ready to buy right now, but when we find your dream home, do you have a home you need to sell first? And they say no. And I say, okay, so what's stopping you from buying this spring? And they say some limiting belief, my credit, whatever. If I've got a program that I can make them aware of that addresses that limiting belief, they may want to go out. If we can get them pre-approved, they may want to go out this weekend, right? So having that knowledge and using that in your conversations and using it in your ongoing communications with your database is going to uncover more opportunities. Maybe they're self-employed and they don't realize that they can get a mortgage with 12 months bank statements. If you're the one making them aware of that fact, they may be ready to go right now, right? The factor that is keeping them from being ready, willing, and able is a myth. It's a non-fact, right? And if you're the one making them aware of that, they may be ready to go. And not only that, when you're the person that does that for the potential client, more often than not, those folks are so grateful and thankful for you that they will end up being a champion for you in your marketplace. They will go out of their way to try and send you more business, you know? So anyway, questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, anything that we missed with this or any points of clarification? Here's what we're going to do. Number 1, we will edit this so that it's just the content piece. And we're going to continue to iterate on the document with this. And we'll get that out to anyone who is interested. Just get back to whoever invited you. And then later this week, we are going to workshop doing this, the work of these different steps collaboratively together. And I think the easiest way for us to do that is going to be on our group our coaching huddles, which are Wednesday and Thursday, and we may even have to add a session on Friday to do this work. So if you want to join us for that, if you go to growwithjosh.com/huddle, that's our Zoom room link. And Wednesday, Thursday, and we'll see how we're doing, maybe Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're going to do that together. And that's going to be more actually doing the work and deploying some of this, some of these strategies and tactics and scripts, etc. I invited myself by registering. No, James, how did you, James, I'm assuming that means you got an email from me, right? Whoever invited you, unless you, I don't know, James, maybe you did find my Eventbrite just on your own. Maybe you found it organically. I don't know. I guess that's possible. All right. Housekeeping items. Tomorrow is Texting Tuesday on the Wake Up Real Estate Show, which is on our YouTube channel, Wake Up Real Estate Texting Tuesday. And it will be an example that fits under step 2 of this, another type of script that you can use to revive or resurrect old dead leads. It will be more geared towards the mortgage side and buyers. Also tomorrow, we've got our 12-week year group coaching for those of you that are in the 12-week year with Norm Mead in our group. We've got our big group coaching at 12:30 Eastern as well. And then Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, we'll be back here at the same link, growwithjosh.com/huddle. As soon as we have the replay of this available, we'll also add that. Here's the easiest way we're going to do that. If you haven't already, I'm gonna post the link to the doc again. We'll just add the video replay to the top of this doc. So open the Google Doc, star the doc, or add it to your drive, add it to your Google Drive so you have it. And then as we update and make upgrades to the document, including the video replay, it'll be available there for you. I already have several folks that reached out on the mortgage side and also asking for the direct mail double tap. So feel free to reach out to whoever invited you on that. We'll get you that. And appreciate you all spending some time on a Monday morning. Get out. This is work worth doing. If you're not busy with clients this week, you need to be doing this work, right? Start with step 0. If you need help, if you've got some folks that have been turned down and you need a second opinion or a second look, reach out. We're happy to help with that. And get to work on the rest of those steps as well. And we'll be doing that together very later this week. So, all right. Thanks so much, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you again real soon.